Cream. Cash rules everything around me. Cream, get the dollar, get the money, dollar bill, y'all.
Team, I'm not proving everyone else wrong, I'm proving myself right at the end of the day. And so this is a great test. I know what I'm capable of. And once I beat this guy, it's just another.
The only pressure on me is when I put pressure on myself, you know. That's why I'm not going out here and saying I'm gonna knock him out or anything like that.
Gervonta Tank Davis showed up, showed out. I saw it in Jake's face. Jake's scared, bro.
The boxing world can't stop talking about Jake Paul versus Gervonta Davis. This isn't just another fight, it's a battle that has everyone picking sides. A YouTuber turned boxer facing a knockout machine. Size versus skill. Hype versus legacy. We're breaking down what the experts are saying and what could really happen when these two step into the ring. Let's start with what Chael Sonnen saw during the Jake Paul versus Gervonta Davis face-off. Something was different about Tank. He didn't have that usual ice-cold stare. Sonnen picked up on it right away. Jake's size became impossible to ignore, and suddenly, what looked like a weakness for Paul turned into his biggest strength. The crowd already thinks Jake has the edge just because of how much bigger he is. That's a mental win before the bell even rings.
Tank looked very uncomfortable facing off. He just did. I've seen other face-off this Tank done. He gets in their face and they're intense and he looks good. He looked very meager up there. You've had 8 fights and you're gonna go tangle with Tank Davis, and the story instantly comes out. Jake is so much bigger. There is such a compliment to Jake within that insult. It is meant to be an insult. It is meant to take away from a potentially glorious moment for Jake. But where the compliment comes is it means the public believes he's going to win. That's what it means.
But Michael Bisping took it even further. He called out the size gap between Jake Paul and Gervonta Davis without sugarcoating it. Jake stepped on the scale at 227 pounds when he fought Mike Tyson. That's almost 100 pounds more than Tank Davis. Bisping didn't dance around it. He said it straight up. This is bullying. The size difference is so massive that it changes everything about how this fight could go down.
Jake Paul, I think when he weighed in for Mike Tyson, was 227 pounds. That is, if I'm not mistaken, a 92 pound weight difference. Almost a 100 pound weight difference. It's insane. That is called one thing. That's called being a bull.
Then Oscar De La Hoya jumped into the conversation with some tough love for Gervonta Tank Davis. He respects Tank's power and talent, no question about it. But De La Hoya asked the big question: can Tank really be the face of boxing when he only fights once a year? He pushed Tank to step up and fight more often. De La Hoya even threw down a challenge, telling Davis to try and beat his record of 5 world title fights in 1 year. That's pressure.
Tank Davis is not the face of boxing because he doesn't fight often. He fights once a year. And he's probably one of the best talents in the world. I love Tank Davis. I love watching him fight. I love when he goes in the ring and just demonstrates power and speed and he doesn't give a I love that. But he has to fight more often. We want to see Tank fight 3-4 times a year. Tank Davis, I dare you to break my record. 5 world title fights in 1 year. Let's go.
Shannon Briggs, the former heavyweight contender, shared his take on celebrity boxing and where fighters like Jake Paul fit into all of this. He was honest about it. These fights bring in serious money, and that's something no one can ignore anymore.
The money. This is great for boxing, great for his pockets, like Mike Tyson did it. You know, this is one of the lifetime things, like 2 of a lifetime things. You got Turkey Ali, Turkey Ashi, whatever his name is. Yes. And you got your boy here, Jake, and what Logan did brought a lot of money to the game.
Why would that be great for boxing as well?
Just for fun. You know, these are fights that, you know, you got your traditional boxing, and you got this that comes along, and you start getting celebrities to get into it. And it's good for money, man. You know?
Now here's where things get wild. Chael Sonnen broke down the moment Jake Paul and Gervonta Tank Davis started betting against each other. It started at $250,000, but then Aiden Ross got involved and the number jumped to $2 million. Jake tried to lock it in with a handshake. Tank didn't shake on it. So according to Sonnen, there's no real bet yet. No handshake, no deal. Simple as that.
Jake Paul, Tank Davis, make a bet, and Aiden Ross is right in the middle of this. Like, there is really nobody that is better that's stirring the pot that does not come across as he's stirring the pot. Comes across as a regular guy. Like, Aiden has a skill. So they're at this press conference and Aiden comes to the microphone. Tees him up. All right. So it starts with a $250,000 bet. And this is between Jake and Tank, right? I mean, this is the old-fashioned, I think I can beat you. I think I can beat, but I really mean it. Do you really mean it? Okay, well, I mean it so much, I'll bet you 250 grand. Do you mean it enough to bet me 250 grand? And it escalates. It goes right to $500,000. It goes right to $1 million. They settle on $2 million, and Jake wants to make this thing official. So Jake actually says, shake on it. Now, these two have to be separated. These two cannot be together.
But wait, Chael Sonnen also talked about the stage moment when Jake Paul and Gervonta Tank Davis walked toward each other. Everyone expected chaos. Instead, they shook hands. That handshake made the $2 million bet real. Sonnen said it felt powerful, but also a little awkward. These handshake deals are common in MMA, but they always carry weight because they're based on respect and code.
Jake gets up, comes across the stage, and Tank gets and comes across the stage. Now, normally, if these two are going to come across the stage, all hell's going to break loose. They literally set that aside because of the code. And they shook hands. I thought it was great. I just thought this was this great thing. Now, I want to talk about this. These make me slightly uncomfortable.
Rolly Romero gave his reaction to Jake Paul versus Gervonta Tank Davis and focused on what everyone keeps coming back to, the size. Tank is the better boxer, no debate there, but Jake is naturally way bigger. Romero brought up concerns about weight rules and how much fighters can rehydrate after weigh-ins. He admitted that even with Tank's skills, size could make a real difference in this fight.
I don't even know what to think. Maybe Tank has an unreal boxing ability and Jake Paul is really big. But the last time I said somebody was going to be bigger, they weren't that much bigger. But I think in this case, somebody's actually a lot bigger, so.
Did you see the face-off? Like, he's like a lot bigger. Even though I know it's like 195 is going to be the limit, but it's still, like, Tank fights at 30, 35.
Is that the rehydration limit, or?
They asked him about rehydration and they said no comment. So I don't know what's going on with that.
That's scary. That's scary. There's a lot of difference, but I mean, obviously, if we're gonna give it to skill-wise, we're gonna give it to Gervonta, you know? Like, there's no ifs, ands, questions, or any of that stuff. But like I said, size can play a big factor. Like I said, what are you gonna do if he just grabs you?
Scooter Davis, who trains under Gervonta Davis, cleared up some confusion about his relationship with Tank. People assumed Tank would sign him, but that never happened. The only real offer Scooter got was from Top Rank, and they actually followed through. Scooter explained that Tank never wanted to control other fighters' careers. That's not why Tank got into boxing in the first place.
Actually, that's what everybody think. It was the only offer. Everything else was talks. They can talk your head off, but Top Rank was the first people to really say, I'm gonna send an offer, and sent it and did it. Like, everybody thought that Tank was gonna sign me and I was been with Tank, but Tank always told me that he did not want to be in control of other people's careers. You know what I mean? He didn't like that. That's not what he got into the game for.
Jake Paul was asked directly if the bet with Gervonta Tank Davis is real. He confirmed it. $2 million. Aiden Ross is backing him. Jake knows that most boxing bets are just for show, but he said this one is different. They're drawing up a real contract to make it official. No backing out.
That's legit. And how much is on the line now? I didn't sum up everything.
Yeah, it's $2 million on the line, me and Aiden Ross versus Gervonta Davis. And, a lot of these bets don't become materialized with these boxers when they say it on stage, but we're going to go get a contract drawn up right now.
Mike Hall Fox gave his thoughts on Jake Paul versus Gervonta Tank Davis and summed up boxing today in one sentence. Wild matchups keep happening. He pointed out how strange it is that a cruiserweight like Jake is even considering fighting a lightweight like Tank. The size gap is huge, but so is the money and attention. Jake Paul knows how to get people talking, and this fight is proof of that.
Letting everything go on. Y'all be letting everything happen. We got Jake Paul and Tank about to do a rematch. Do an exhibition or whatever. Boxing's just in a crazy place right now, where a world-ranked cruiserweight says he wants to fight tougher fights is about to fight a lightweight. You know what I mean? So, whatever.
Is it insane for Jake Paul to even try to entertain something with Tank? Because I know that there's a difference in size, but because you've been in a ring with Tank before, is that a bad idea for Jake Paul to fight Tank?
There's money involved. Jake Paul is a social media star, In other words, in essence, he's an attention whore. It's just what it is.
Showbiz the Adult studied the face-off between Jake Paul and Gervonta Tank Davis and focused on body language. After Jake pushed Tank, he stepped back and left too much space. That showed hesitation. Tank picked up on it immediately and smirked. Showbiz said Jake comes off as too domestic, while Tank is a real fighter. There's a difference between someone who trains to box and someone who's built for war.
I saw it in his face. More importantly, Tank saw it. He saw it the first time. Tank looked at him after the push. Jake Paul left all this space after the push. Jake was looking at Tank and he was trying to die. That was not the guy he saw yesterday. And Tank is looking at him and he smirked. He smirked and was like, hey, he's too domestic. I tried to tell you guys in a podcast, Gervonta is an animal for real.
Showbiz the Adult went deeper into the mental game between Jake Paul and Gervonta Tank Davis. Tank grew up in Baltimore's streets. He's a real fighter, wired for combat. Jake is a showman. Showbiz explained how Tank tested Jake during the face-off. First, he measured Jake's reach. Then he pushed him to see how he'd react emotionally.
Tank, now what I'm saying is he's from the block. He's from B-More. All the games he played, all the things, how he's wired, how he thinks is not how Jake thinks. Jake is a showman. On top of that, in the eyes of Tank, Jake saw a fighter. And I'm talking about a different kind of fighter. I'm talking about a violent person. Bro, Tank was looking at him like y'all said. A lot of y'all, I'm giving y'all all y'all piece. Y'all told me in the comments that Jake was looking at him and he was sizing him up. He pushed him this time. First, he looked at him to see, let me see his reach. Remember when he tapped under his arm? Let me see if I can touch him, see his reach with his stance. Jake is giving too much away. Tank Davis is a fighter. That's what he is, the art of war. Then he pushed him to see how he is emotionally. He checked him out physically. Now he's checking him out emotionally, see if he's rattled.
Wade Plemons reminded everyone that Jake Paul versus Gervonta Tank Davis is an exhibition. That changes everything. The only real risk is a knockout. If Jake gets stopped, his career takes a massive hit. If Tank gets knocked out, it's even worse for him. But if it goes to a decision, Wade thinks neither fighter loses much. It's all about the knockout.
Well, it's not considered a loss to anyone, because this is an exhibition. Let's not forget, this is an exhibition. But yeah, I mean, I kind of agree. If Jake, and I would only say by knockout, if Jake gets knocked out by Tank Davis, this would be a devastating mark on his career. No doubt about it. If Tank were to get knocked out by Jake, it would be a devastating mark on his career. But if we have like a judge's decision in an exhibition, which I didn't even know was possible until yesterday, Nikisa said there's going to be a judge's decision. All right. That's probably what's going to happen. But if this is like a judge's decision thing, I don't think anyone's stock necessarily goes up or goes down. Again, I have said what I think this fight's going to look like. I think it's going to be very difficult for Jake to hit Tank clean. If he does, fight changes. I think it's going to be very difficult for Tank. I think they're saying 12-ounce gloves for Tank to hurt Jake.
Wade Plemons also reacted to Tank Davis staying calm at the press conference. Tank said he doesn't feel pressure except what he puts on himself. He promised a great show for the fans on November 14th, but didn't make any big knockout predictions. Wade appreciated the honesty, but felt like Tank didn't seem fired up. Maybe Tank doesn't see Jake Paul as a real threat yet.
Yeah, I feel like it's no pressure on me. The only pressure on me is when I put pressure on myself. That's why I'm not going out here and saying I'm gonna knock him out or anything like that. So we just gonna put on a great show come November the 14th, and the fans won that night. I just want to put on a great show so everybody can, be happy.
I don't hate the answer from Tank, because it sounds like it's honest. But again, I want to see them fight. I want to see some aggression. Tank would have that if it was anyone he actually felt was worth it. I just don't know if he thinks Jake's worth it. And again, I get that feeling that he just is there to be there.
Chael Sonnen explained why the handshake between Jake Paul and Gervonta Tank Davis matters so much. In combat sports, a man's word is everything. If fighters can't trust each other's promises, the whole system breaks down. Contracts and negotiations would drag on forever. Sonnen said the handshake is about the code of boxing, and that's why he needs Jake Paul to win. It proves his word means something.
Here's why I need Jake Paul to win. We have to have clarity on this. The one thing you can't have in this business is anybody question your word. Truly. If your word gets called into question, you're out of business. We do not have time to do contracts every single day. We do not have time to meet with people and re-meet and negotiate and then renegotiate and sign this and make sure it goes through legal and get it notarized and get it over here and get it filed. We don't have time. It has got to be, will you do this? Do you agree to that? It has to be, or the industry comes to a stop. Now, I'm just sharing with you, everybody's involved. You got a triangle. You got the promoter, you got the red corner, you got the blue corner. They all have to understand this code. Now, Jake shakes on it, and I knew what that meant.
When it's all said and done, Jake Paul versus Gervonta Tank Davis is about more than just size or skill. It's about two men proving who they are when the lights are on and everything is on the line. Tank brings pure power, experience, and the mentality of a fighter who came up the hard way in Baltimore. Jake brings the hunger to prove everyone wrong and the refusal to back down from any challenge. This fight tests everything: pride, legacy, belief. When the first punch is thrown, we'll see if Jake Paul is ready for what's coming, or if Tank Davis reminds the world that real greatness can't be faked. So here's the question: will Jake Paul shock the world and prove he belongs, or will Gervonta Tank Davis shut down the hype and show everyone what a real champion looks like? Drop your prediction in the comments below. If you like this breakdown, smash that like button, subscribe, and hit the notification bell, because this is only the beginning.